Good morning. Both of those in person and online, and I'm Reverend Peter Farriday, UUCPA's interim minister for the next 2 years. My pronouns are he, him, and whatever your sexual orientation, gender identity, ethnicity, family makeup, etc., you are more than welcome here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Palo Alto. May you find nourishment and inspiration for your journey. We express our mutual respect by supporting each other's decisions about masking and other health measures. If you would like a mask today and you do not have one with you, please raise your hand and we will provide one. If you're new with us, Halloween's coming early, I think. Anyway, if you're new with us, please know that during the service, we use these cards to share any joys or concerns that are on our hearts. If you'd like to fill one out, you can always find them at the entry. And now at the small table right over there by Reverend Kat. And there's still time to do one as we continue with a few pre-service announcements, most of which are also listed near the top of your order of service. This being the third Sunday of the month, as usual, both the Empty Nest Parenting and Spiritual Adventures in Parenting groups meet after the service. Check your order of service for locations. If you're new and you don't know about these programs, but you're just curious and you'd like to know more, you could just stop by and ask a couple questions as the groups commence, and it doesn't mean you necessarily have to stay for now, but you can learn more about them. Next weekend, on Saturday, there is a Parents' Night Out starting at 5 o'clock here, and after next Sunday's service, an adult learning journey class on the intersection of Unitarian Universalism and Buddhism. You can find more details on our website. And please mark your calendars for November 15th. That is UUCPA's annual auction party, which will be held from 5:30 to 9 p.m. right here. This is one of the top events of the year with great food and music and fun children's events. You can find more information on the website or stop by the auction table on the patio after the service. Please plan to come one, come all on November 15th. Finally, the Campus Vision Project, which is the construction process that's been in process for years now, planning, is now very close to... Was he all right? We're okay. That was just an oral earthquake, no shaking, so... is close to commencing. So since that's going to affect how things work around here physically, UCPA's board president and part of the vision team, Mayo Suzuki, now offers some vital information.
Hello. Hello. You never know what is happening. Hi, I'm Mayo Suzuki, and I'm speaking today representing the relocation team. That's Jane Cronus and myself. We are planning to keep you safe during our renovation and remodel project. So the most important thing is construction is coming. And on October 27th, we expect the contractors to start work. Therefore, on the afternoon of Sunday, the day before, October 26th, the relocation team will be restriping the parking lot. What that means for you is the exit driveway will be closed, no access in either direction. We will be converting the entrance driveway here next to the creek, next to Stevenson House, into a two-direction entrance exit. Therefore, no parking along the entire entrance way. So that we will have striping and signs and cones to make that prominent for you. And direction through the through the parking lot will be one way. Okay, you can park all through the back parking lot in the spaces that are marked, but traffic will flow one direction. Okay, please follow the signs. Also, we are going to keep everyone updated on a weekly basis through the Announce channels. So if you are not yet subscribed, we urge you now to please subscribe to Announce at uucpa.org so you'll get all those updates, and we'll be keeping you safe. Thank you. Sorry, one thing I should say. The parking lot changes are anticipated to last 3 weeks. This is not going to be for the duration of the project. It's about 3 weeks, and if we find out something different, we will update you through Announce.
Thank you, Maya. And yes, again, that will start not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow. I now invite you to center yourself in your chair. Take a couple of deep breaths. You might want to close your eyes or lower your gaze a little bit, just looking down a little bit. It's up to you. Take a couple deep breaths. Let your forehead relax. Your shoulders drop. Your abdomen soften as you breathe into it. Let any mental chatter subside. Breathe again into your belly. And as mindfulness practice advises, be totally present to this moment. We gather our different paths entwined to deepen our spiritual lives, nourishing connection, learning from each other, caring for each other, tending to our world. As we follow the sound of the bell into silence, we allow ourselves to arrive here fully. Welcome. Unitarian Universalist congregations light a chalice, the symbol of our UU faith. Our accompanying words are adapted from reading number 434 in our gray hymnal. Sacred Spirit of our radically interconnected existence and our deeply intertwined lives, help us to remember here our highest aspirations. May we know once again that we are not isolated beings, but related in mystery and miracle to the universe, to the communion of all life, and to each other. In kindling our Unitarian Universalist chalice flame, we invoke and invite into this space the divine light of wisdom, the sacred fire of justice and compassion, and dedicate ourselves anew to bringing our fullest gifts of love and service to the altar of humanity. Please now rise in body or in spirit and sing hymn number 118, This Little Light of Mine. The lyrics are on screen and in the online order of service and in your gray hymnal. Please sing out, and clapping and movement are highly encouraged, and since it's autumn, I get to say that shaking it beats raking it.
Working? Hello? Yep. Hi! Fancy seeing y'all here on this Sunday morning. So I want to say it is that time of year, very spooky time. Next week we are having an intergenerational service in this room at 10:30. And I would like to invite all who would wish to participate to come in costume. And if you forget your costume or you feel like, maybe I do want a feather boa, we have some stuff in the lobby that you can borrow. We're going to have a really fun intergenerational service. And then afterwards, we'll all gather on the patio for a ghoulishly good time. We'll have a costume parade for all those who want to show off their cool digs. And then we'll also have some trick-or-treating. So it's going to be very exciting next week. But today, we're not talking about Halloween. We're talking about a pumpkin. So, it's kind of a pumpkin. I think Tim said in the morning when I brought it in, he's like, that kind of looks like an apple. It's fall. So, this is the story of Pip, the pumpkin. And so Pip was very excited to be a pumpkin. He was cheerful, he was a gourd, he was orange. He was living in a pumpkin patch.
Cool.
I'm so sorry. I got too into my pumpkin. So I would like to invite anyone who is young or young at heart to join me up at the front. Hey, Rose. Yeah, you want it? Yeah, it's a jack-o'-lantern. That's what our story is about. It's actually about a jack-o'-lantern turning into, a pumpkin turning into a jack-o'-lantern. What? So, you know, jack-o'-lanterns, they come from a long time ago in ancient Ireland and in Scotland, and this was before Europeans knew anything about America, so they didn't have pumpkins. So what did they carve instead? Turnips, yeah. You look them up online, they're like mandrake, scrunching face, it's very creepy. Or gourds too, yeah. Anything that's good and carvable, they carved it. So this little pumpkin, he thought that it was very important that everybody be treated kindly. And one day in autumn, it started getting darker earlier, as it does, and it started feeling colder, and it was getting gloomier, and the pumpkin noticed that all the people who usually came to the pumpkin patch, they were kind of keeping to themselves, and they were like, something felt really off. And so the people in town started to worry, and so did Pip the pumpkin. And so Pip was like, I think it's really important that everybody feels safe. So what can I do? How can I make all my friends in town feel safe? And Pip, being the smart gourd that he is, remembered about that ancient Celtic tradition with the turnips and said, I could be a bright, happy face, something to show love and warmth in the dark, gloomy night. So when people are traveling home and they see my bright, smiling face, they'll feel warmth, and they won't feel so alone. So there's a lot of faces of jack-o'-lantern can be, right? What? You're trying to take it off? So a jack-o'-lantern could have, the traditional face, right? Or maybe a jack-o'-lantern could have a witch carved into it. Very spooky. Or maybe it's just a goblin, a monster guy. Yeah, but Pip didn't really want any of that. He wanted to be a face that made everybody feel warm and welcome. So we're gonna help make that face together for Pip. So the first thing we have to do is we have to give Pip some eyes. So what kind of eyes do we think Pip should have? Should Pip have a big round circles, like two moons, or like the two triangles? Two triangles? Okay, who wants two triangles for the eyes? All right, it's good with the audience? The older folks? Okay, so we're gonna have two triangles. Now, let's think about the mouth. Why I draw these two triangles. What kind of mouth do we want that says? Minus the teeth, like that mouth? Or it could be just like a smile? Like that mouth with the teeth sticking out? Yeah, let's see. How do we feel about this mouth? Yeah, too small? You want it bigger? Yeah, we could do it bigger with big teeth. Yeah. Okay, let's vote on the teeth. We want teeth. If you want teeth, vote, say yes. If you don't want teeth, say no teeth. Well, it's pretty equal, so we'll just have half a tooth. Okay? Okay. So, we'll just put one little snaggle tooth there, okay? There we go. That's fine. That's fine. So, now, another thing that really made people feel welcome is they put a candle inside, and that really helped light the way home. So I just want to say thank y'all for making Pip from a pumpkin into a jack-o'-lantern. So thank you so much. And this is the transforming power of love. You know, when we commit to wanting to spread more kindness, wanting to spread more joy in this ever-glooming world, we can remember that we can be like a jack-o'-lantern. So thank you for listening to my story. I invite all my friends who are in preschool through 8th grade to meet me in the lobby. We'll have Curiosity Collective for everyone from preschool to 5th grade, and then we'll have our neighboring faith class. Thank you.
And I really like the idea of just letting our light shine from within, and that candle of the soul that is within us all, to let it shine. Okay, our reading. Robert T. Weston was a UU minister and a veteran of both world wars, the second as a Navy chaplain. This passage of his words, entitled "Cherish Your Doubts," appears in our gray hymnal. Cherish your doubts, for doubt is the attendant of truth. Doubt is the key to the door of knowledge. It is the servant of discovery. A belief which may not be questioned binds us to error, for there is incompleteness and imperfection in every belief. Doubt is the touchstone of truth. It is an acid which eats away the false. Let no one fear for the truth, that doubt may consume it, for doubt is a testing of belief. The truth stands boldly and unafraid. It is not shaken by the testing. For truth, if it be truth, arises from each testing stronger, more secure. Those who would silence doubt are filled with fear. Their houses are built on shifting sands. But those who fear not doubt and know its use are founded on rock. They shall walk in the light of growing knowledge. The work of their hands shall endure. Therefore, let us not fear doubt, but let us rejoice in its help. It is to the wise as a staff to the blind. Doubt is the attendant of truth. We now further honor all that was shared and anything in our hearts left unsaid by lifting these up in prayerful song. I usually ask you to rise in body or in spirit for this, but I think just because it's a more contemplative song, just as an experiment and change and things, why don't we just sit and sing it from our seats today? Number 123, Spirit of Life. The lyrics are on screen and in the online order of service. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. In recent years, the relationship between spirituality and/or religion and mental/emotional health, or more broadly well-being, has increasingly come under study. It almost seems to have become conventional wisdom that spirituality is associated with greater well-being as well as physical health. Sometimes that understanding is no doubt accurate, and sometimes it's not. Because as we all know, spirituality and religion come in far more than 31 flavors, and a big factor in whether it's helpful or harmful depends on what ideas and attitudes we're swallowing. Thomas More is a former monk, a psychotherapist, and a well-known spiritual teacher who has authored such best-selling books as Care of the Soul. In an article, he talks about how every mental health professional knows about the DSM-5, which is short for the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, 5th edition. This 2013 edition, partially updated in 2022, is published by the American Psychiatric Association, and in the U.S., it's the accepted authority for diagnosing psychiatric disorders. Treatment recommendations, as well as payments made by mental health care insurers, are often determined by DSM-5 classifications. But in his article, Thomas More offers a lighthearted twist on it by proposing some listings of what he calls his imaginary DSM-1 of Spirituality Disorders. I'm going to explore 6 of those disorders and ask us to consider how these might apply to each of 3 distinct groups of religious or spiritual people. First, let me emphasize that in doing this, of course, I am generalizing. I'll also state that in quoting More, I sometimes abridge parts, but always preserve the meaning of the full passages. The first group is loosely what I'll call spiritual New Agers. The second is religious fundamentalists. Here, including not just theological extremists, but those multitudes who are pretty darn convinced that they and they alone have it right. Anyone want to hazard a guess as to the third group? That's it, Unitarian Universalists. Still ready to dive in, or is it time for coffee? So here we go with Thomas More's first spirituality disorder, a tendency toward literalism. That is, a penchant for, quote, confusing theological stories with historical fact. Again, I'm speaking generally throughout here, but this isn't common for New Agers or UUs, who usually appreciate what More calls the value of narrative, poetics, mythology, and imagery, when you discover that they take you deeper than any literal, factual approach. How about literalism for fundamentalists? Big time, yeah. To my mind, it may be their chief disorder, and at times a real danger, because it can lead to sometimes deadly distortions in thought and action. And stemming frequently from a tendency toward literalism is disorder number 2, finding pleasure in making moralistic judgments. More says that spiritual people of all stripes tend to judge others who don't think the way they do, and admits to having to watch out for this one himself. I admit that too. Because, for example, while I do think the claims of fundamentalists that spiritual truth is found in only one religious text are dead wrong, and by extension that UUism is right in saying that spiritual wisdom and ethical guidance can come from many sources, I perhaps, like some other UUs, though of course no one here, need to offer my assessments thoughtfully and include a measure of sensitivity that fundamentalists are just currently fixed at a narrower level of spiritual understanding. And if that itself sounds like an assessment, it is. So as UUs, we still discern and critique, yet in doing so, we try our best not to condemn. Nor are New Age folks typically given to moral denunciation, but of course threatening people with eternal damnation as well as disparaging those they consider undeserving is something at which many fundamentalists, sadly, are all too practiced. Thomas More says that this type of moralism is rooted in the conviction that, quote, you know what is right and wrong based on your tradition or a book or a teacher. You expect others to follow your own simple system. And he considers this an emotional defense against really being moral, going through the sweaty process of sorting out values and subtle issues buried in ethical decisions. I'm going to leapfrog his third spirituality disorder temporarily to suggest that such defensiveness connects directly with the fourth, the wish to escape from life's complexities. A deep engagement with life is always a wrestle, at least at times, always a challenge, in part because if our minds and our spirits are attentive, we recognize that the nature of life is indeed complex and intricate. And especially in today's hyper-complex world, as Moore puts it, what a relief to find some simplifying system to make it all easier. So to fundamentalists, the aim is not to cherish your doubts, but to banish them. Or, failing that, chastise them until they cower and retreat. Because good and evil, right and wrong, who's worthy and unworthy, it's all in the book. But of course, the problem with all simplifying systems is that actual people inevitably get chewed up and spit out by the theological and or ideological machine. Because it seems it's a lot easier for some people to just condemn something or someone that doesn't fit their abstract system rather than having to deal with the complex flesh and blood human beings whose fill in the blank spiritual beliefs, cultural concepts, sexuality, etc., happens to differ from their own. Unitarian Universalists, conversely, can, by and large, take a measure of satisfaction in not escaping moral and ethical complexity through oversimplification. And while we're far from perfect in our efforts, as I've learned more about both our history and more recent initiatives, I've been impressed by UUism's willingness to examine our blind spots and engage in at least some of the sweaty processes of examining our values and practices with an eye toward ever greater awareness and inclusivity. So again, speaking generally, where are the New Agers in this? Well, on the positive side, as I said, they don't normally have level harsh moral judgments against others, but their pronounced tendency toward escapism is seen in two other spiritual disorders that Thomas More identifies. For the first, we return to number 3, an ingrained habit of gullibility. More suggests that this disorder, the chief symptom of which is a willingness to believe just about anything, can be plainly seen by glancing at a list of programs offered by any New Age spiritual growth center, or, I'll add, reading some of the service advertisements in certain related publications. Here are two excerpts that I found, excerpts from two publications I found. I specialize in spiritual cleansing and purification, removing all negative energy and working through chakra balancing. I can help you achieve higher goals in your career and success in your endeavors. I can even lead and direct you to your soulmate or restore a broken love affair using uniquely formulated ancient spiritual love remedies from the Himalayas. Or if that doesn't do the trick, another practitioner promises to, quote, accelerate your spiritual and personal evolution by directly accessing the Akashic records, your soul's energy archive of all lifetimes. Now, as I'll speak of in coming weeks and months, I personally believe that we all have a soul, a non-physical spiritual essence. So in the spirit of transrational, that is beyond the rational, broad-mindedness, who am I to say that such an energy archive doesn't exist? Yet, like with uniquely formulated ancient Himalayan love remedies, I'll avoid the habit of gullibility and take a cue from one of UUism's stated principles, a free and responsible, underline responsible here, search for truth and meaning, as well as from our reading that doubt is the attendant of truth. And I will maintain a healthy skepticism on whether anyone can actually directly access the Akashic records. So, Excuse me. Wow, talk about synchronicity. I just got a notification about a new app that lets you directly download your Akashic records onto your iPhone or other mobile device. Yes, get. Are you kidding? Does anyone besides me suspect that Siri eavesdrops? Anyway, this gullibility disorder also affects many fundamentalists. For instance, even today, what most of us would call clinical depression is seen by some Christians as being caused by demonic possession, in particular, the demon Belphegor. In Christian tradition, Belphegor is one of the 7 princes of hell. I didn't know there were princes of hell, frankly. And the chief demon of the deadly sin of sloth. And there are modern Christian exorcists who, with a cross in one hand and a Bible in the other, will seek to expel Belphegor at a weekend workshop. Though one such exorcist now prefers to call Belphegor procrastination. They just don't make demons like they used to. Moving on, New Agers also show a tendency toward Thomas More's 5th spirituality disorder, quote, a carefully cultivated rosy picture of reality. This is especially prominent in a sort of subgroup a friend of mine calls white lighters, where everything is love and light and suffering is just an illusion, etc. And I strongly affirm More's point that, quote, one can quickly judge a spiritual approach by the way it treats the shadow side of life. Any effort to not see it in ourselves is a form of spiritual delusion. I also suggest that UUism's long practice of advocating for inclusive social equity shows that we don't delude ourselves into dismissing life's harsher realities and injustices. So in wrapping up this survey of more and less healthy spiritual or religious outlooks, I'll return to More's list for one last spirituality disorder: finding comfort in one's own group rather than identifying with the world community. Here I want to stress 2 things. First, that all humans innately gravitate toward those of like mind and heart and find comfort in connecting with a group of what feels like my people. Second, the degree to which that does or does not make room to still identify with, respect, and value those outside that group varies immensely. So I'm not going to repeat myself here, but I'll let you know that I addressed this variance and its effects in some depth in my talks of September 28th and October 5th, and those, like all talks, are available on the website if you choose to refer to those. In my view, this idea is another major issue with all fundamentalisms, because while it may feel comforting to feel part of the chosen few, the one true way, in that tightly closed world, all other ways, as I spoke of even in an earlier sermon, are false and faulty and probably evil. And then the unholy wars begin. By contrast, New Agers often have a wider perspective and a genuine longing for a one-world community. But many times this is accompanied by a bit of a shortage of critical thinking and an overvaluing of innocence that ironically arrests deep spiritual development. This is not helpful to building a healthy world community, and ultimately it can't be good for true mental and emotional well-being either. I mean, as others have noted, it's good to have an open mind, but it ain't so good if it's always open at both ends. And while I and other UUs need to be careful of being overly tribal, including not assuming everyone shares the same views on the issues of the day, here again I think Unitarian Universalism largely thrives, because another of our declared principles, number 6, expressly affirms the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. And our 7th principle, respect for the interdependent web of all existence, of which we are a part, confirms that a healthy world community doesn't only mean healthy for us two-legged ones. Finally, let's recall that we describe our UU faith as a living tradition, meaning it remains alive, dynamic, and evolving. Therefore, recapping Thomas More's other disorders we explored, UUism doesn't mistake ancient stories for literal history, but is grounded in reality while appreciating spiritual symbolism as a gateway to the transcendent. It finds more pleasure in justice making than in making moralistic judgments. It prizes intellectual rigor as well as spiritual insight, so it isn't prone to being gullible. It inspires joy and celebrates beauty, yet doesn't seek to escape life's complexities nor turn a blind eye toward suffering and sorrow. And because it encourages us to tussle honestly with all of life's facets, it has the potential to promote true health in our minds and elicit kindness in our hearts, and thus help our hands build a healthier and more sustainable world community. Again, while UUism and UUs are far from flawless in this ongoing quest, I hope you're as grateful and gratified as I am to be a part of this living tradition legacy. And if for whatever reason you're not quite feeling it right now, you can download the Akashic Records app after the service and see where that takes you. Even as I cherish my doubts, I'll be curious to know. Namaste, and blessed be. As a part of Unitarian Universalism's free church tradition, this congregation is self-supporting and thus remains free to govern ourselves. In addition to their annual sustaining contributions, each week our members and friends may choose to give an additional amount as a witness that we are and shall remain a free faith. You can use cash or check or the QR code or text in the order of service. Please give generously. We are grateful for the gifts offered today and for all the gifts and blessings in our lives, including the gift of wonderful music. Please rise in body or in spirit and sing hymn number 326, Let All the Beauty We Have Known. The lyrics are on screen in the online order of service, and again, number 326. Whether online or here in the main hall, please stay after the service for conversation. We begin with greeting time, a chance to speak with someone you haven't met before, and I really want to emphasize that. Someone you haven't met before, or someone you haven't seen in a while. And as always, thanks to everyone involved in making today's service possible. Our chalice extinguishing words come from Elizabeth Sell Jones. Please say them together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together.
It says it in the program, the title. Allow me to say one quick word about this piece. So many of you are probably familiar with the composer Duke Ellington. If you're not, certainly one of the most prolific composers of American music in any genre. And wrote over 2,000, I'll use my teacher voice, wrote over 2,000 compositions. Oh, online people, okay. Wrote over 2,000 compositions. It says it's on. Try it now. Maybe teach your voice here if we're online. Wrote over 2,000 compositions in a variety of styles and wrote so many pieces of music that friends of mine and I have always said that somewhere around the world at any given time, someone is either playing or listening to a piece written by Duke Ellington. And so this is one of my favorite pieces that he wrote. It's a ballad entitled In a Sentimental Mood.
Thank you. Thank you, Aaron. Now, if you're online, please unmute yourself, turn on your video, and touch hands virtually. And if you're in the main hall or the patio, reach out, arise and reach out, hold hands if you and your neighbors are comfortable with that. Or if you're not, hold your hands over your heart to show that you're connected in spirit as we say our benediction together. Go out into the world in peace. Be of good courage.